What's up everyone, GameDad here, and we are back with the final part. That is part 5 of my current N64 collection series. So over the past month we have gone through and checked out all the games leading up to this point, and right now I believe I'm about 2/3 of the way through having a complete N64 collection. So come with me as we check out the final games that are on the list and check out that gameplay footage. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire was released by LucasArts in 1996, and in my opinion, this is the best Star Wars game on the N64. Pod racing is a lot of fun, but this game, the gameplay was tight, the graphics were awesome. As you can see, you get a classic Battle for Hoth right here, and just overall, it was a really fun game. It had a good storyline, and I mean, this would be great to see a modern remake of this come out for the Switch. Up next, we have Super Mario 64, released by Nintendo in 1996, and this obviously was a launch title for the system, and this game completely redefined the Mario franchise. It is such a great game, it has an awesome storyline, and it kind of set the bar for the whole Mario hub world kind of idea. So you start in one area, and then you go off and keep gathering stars for different challenges in new areas. Here's another amazing game on the system, and that is Super Smash Bros., released by HAL Laboratory in 1999. And this, again, was another pioneering title for Nintendo. And, I mean, this game is awesome, as evident by all of the Super Smash games that have been released over the years, with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate being the latest. But this one, I still remember today, the commercial where all of them are walking hand in hand and then just start beating the heck out of each other. And here we have Tetris Sphere, released by H2O Entertainment in 1997. And this game is kind of a weird, like, 3D sphere version of Tetris. I don't know, it's kind of strange. So you have to sort of go and knock blocks into it, but then you can also bring blocks out of it. I don't know. It's a very weird concept, and I mean, it's okay. It's definitely a unique take on Tetris, but I prefer the original game. Up next is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, released by Edge of Reality in 2000, and this game, honestly, it's way better on other consoles. It's very strange using the single stick to control the game, and overall, the controls just are really wonky. I mean, it was not that great. I mean, it was cool to see a blue N64 cartridge. That, I believe, is the only game that actually had a blue one, so that was kind of neat. Now here we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, released by Edge of Reality in 2001, and in this game, they totally got it right. It plays just like the other consoles, the controls are super intuitive, the graphics look way better than they did in Pro Skater 1 for N64, and overall, I mean, I think this is probably my favorite in the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, and I don't know, it's just, this one was way more fun. Up next, we have Top Gear Overdrive, released by Snowblind Studios in 1998. And this one, for a racing game, is okay. It definitely has some really nice draw distances going on for this console generation. Overall, it's nothing, you know, super insanely good as far as racing games go. There are definitely better ones. But, I mean, it's a pretty cool game with some decent vehicle graphics. Now, here we have Top Gear Rally, released by Boss Game Studios in 1997, and I'm sorry, but this game is garbage. The graphics are awful. The gameplay is terrible. I mean, the overall, like, aesthetic of the tracks, it's super boring. They have some elevation kind of stuff, but most everything is just flat track. And the game is insanely difficult to control. There is so much drift with these cars, it's almost unplayable. And here we have Triple Play 2000, released by Treyarch in 1999, and this one actually has some pretty decent graphics, and the gameplay overall, I feel, is a lot better than a lot of the sports games from this era. I mean, overall, it's still, you're just playing baseball, but you can go as in-depth as you want, or as, you know, shallow on the surface as you want. It's pretty straightforward in its gameplay with on-screen prompts, and overall, I mean, this was actually a pretty fun sports game for me. Up next is another platform classic, and that is Tarak Dinosaur Hunter, released by Iguana Entertainment in 1997, and while you can't really see much of the world at any given time, the overall gameplay is still really fun, and being a first-person game, this was kind of a pioneering title for the system, and it gave way to a lot of other games in the franchise that only got better and better. And here we have Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, released by Iguana Entertainment in 1998. And this one got a big graphic boost, a big like world drawing boost, and the overall gameplay stays the same. It's a little weird using the C buttons as a D-pad. I'm always used to a D-pad on the left hand and not the right. And it takes some getting used to control the camera angles with that single stick. But overall, I mean, it's still a really fun game. And as you can see, they have a lot of like particle effects and things like that going on. Now here we have Turok Rage Wars, released by Acclaim Studios Austin in 1999, and this one was pretty much a like major departure from the other ones, and they went with a very like Quake Arena kind of feel to me. As you can see, this is very multiplayer oriented and kind of just strips the rest of the game out of it and just has you going around shooting stuff. I mean, it's fun, but I prefer regular mainline Turok games. Up next is Vigilante 8, released by Luxoflux in 1999, and this game gives me a very kind of Driver meets Twisted Metal kind of vibe. It's definitely brighter than those kind of games, not as gritty, but overall it's the same kind of thing. You're driving around with your modded cars, you're blowing stuff up, and you're just having a blast doing it. It's actually a really fun game. I just wish that I had the second one in my collection because I hear that that one is actually a lot better. Up next is Waialae Country Club True Golf Classics, released by T&E Soft in 1998, and this game was not really fun for me at all. I'm not a huge golf fan to begin with, and I'm not a huge sports game fan, so putting those together, it was kind of a recipe for disaster in my book, but overall the gameplay just isn't that great either. I mean, it's very cumbersome, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Up next is War Gods, released by Eurocom in 1997, and if you are looking for a super cheap Mortal Kombat knockoff, this is your game. They have some random characters, but the setup is almost identical to a Mortal Kombat game. As you can see, you go down that ladder, then you're in an arena. I mean, it's very Mortal Kombat 4 on the N64 vibes, and it doesn't do it anywhere near as good. Up next is Waverace 64, released by Nintendo in 1996, and this is hands down one of my favorite N64 games. I do have things like Waverace Blue Storm and stuff like that, but I don't think any of the more modern Waverace style games can hold a candle to this one. The game is so much fun, the controls work flawlessly with that single stick, and it's just super fun, super bright, easy to control. I love this game. And here is one of many wrestling games, WCW/NWO Revenge, released by AKI in 1998. And I don't know if there just are better wrestling games. I've heard a lot of good things about Fire Pro Wrestling, but every single wrestling game I have played on the N64, I have thought is just total garbage. The graphics suck, the controls are terrible, and I don't know why so many were made. Here's another one, WCW Mayhem, released by Kodiak Interactive in 1999. And you know what? That's another thing. They used like 4 different game studios to come out with all these wrestling games, and it shows. Some do it a lot better, like this arena actually looks pretty decent, and other ones do not. I do prefer this one over the last one just because graphically it's a lot better, but overall it's still the same, just totally jank gameplay. Here we have WCW Nitro, released by Inland Productions in 1999. Got another game studio there. And this looks terrible. It looks like an upgraded Super Nintendo effects chip game. I mean, it's really not good. And no matter what button I would press on the controller, nothing would let me punch the guy. So I don't know if I'm just missing something, but I thought this game was garbage. Taking a break from those games, here is Wipeout 64, released by Psygnosis in 1998, and this game is fantastic. I love the Wipeout series, and, even playing them on PSP, I have Pulse and I believe one other one, and the games are always awesome. It's super fast-paced, the vehicles are awesome, the stages are awesome, there's really cool power-ups, things like that, and the game is just super fun. Up next is World Driver Championship, released by Boss Game Studios in 1999, and surprisingly, this game actually controls really well, and graphically speaking, I think it's great. It definitely has from the label, like a super cheap kind of game, but as soon as you plug it in and play, I mean, the game plays very well. It's a little slow, not very fast paced, but overall it controls well and plays really well. And they're back. WWF Warzone, released by Iguana West in 1998. And that's yet another studio making one of these games. And graphically speaking, I mean, it looks okay. The colors are definitely a little more crisp and a little more vibrant. So I do like that. It doesn't look all muddied out. But overall, I mean, it's still the same generic wrestling game. I mean, even that guy getting punched just now, it looked super unrealistic. And another one, WWF WrestleMania 2000, released by AKI in 1999. At least I got a studio that did another one of these games. As you can see, graphics are horrible. I mean, I don't expect a lot from the N64 era, but I definitely expect better than this. I mean, everything is so blocky, and there were other games that were able to smooth out character design so well. So, I don't know what the deal is with all these wrestling games, but I am just not a fan. And of course, we have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, released by Nintendo in 1998. And I don't know what I can say about this game that hasn't already been said to death, but this is definitely in my top 5 best Zelda games of all time, as I'm sure it's in many of yours as well. The game is fantastic, the graphics are amazing, and this set the stage for what a 3D adventure game like this is supposed to. And we can't forget the follow-up, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, released by Nintendo in 2000. And this game was cool because it actually tracked your time, and you were playing basically the same kind of Zelda game you've been used to, just with a new story. It was definitely shorter, but it was a really cool concept, the way they did it, and the way the moon is just coming to crash down on you, and they still play with those time mechanics. Just another fantastic Zelda. So there you have it, everyone. That is everything that is currently in my N64 collection. Now, did you notice any glaring gaps in the collection? Any games that are must-haves that I haven't talked about over these past 5 videos? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please be sure to also hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so you can alert every time I got a new video coming out. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.